What's up, guys? It's your boy Josh Showtime. It's Showtime's Fight Forum. Got my boy Josh Vaez here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment per usual. Now, today we talking about a big fight that is under the radar, and that is George Gambosos versus Lomachenko. Now, it's a big fight because at the end of the day, these are two former world champions. This is a very perplexing fight because the styles, it could be pretty fun, but it can also drag out a little bit. It can be very technical. Both guys aren't necessarily known for their power, but yet still the volume of Lomachenko. Then you also have Kambosos, who floored Teo, so he does have some pop in his punch, but he's more of a slick boxer rather than an actual power puncher. So first, what do you expect in this fight? What do you think of the fight?
I actually really like this fight, and I think it makes sense for both fighters. You have Vasily Lomachenko, who is coming off of a very split decision, the most split decision you could probably have in boxing when it comes to Devin Haney. A lot of people thought he won that fight, as you know. So
Yeah.
he's coming off a fight where he feels like he got robbed, but he's also coming into a fight against a George Kambosos who, besides losing to Devin Haney twice, did come off a really good fight against Maxie Hughes, where he won. The fight was so good that he was getting call-outs from Shakur Stevenson. So you have George Kambosos, who's trying to show everybody, hey, I belong here in this division. I wasn't undisputed. For no reason at all. Granted, I lost to a better fighter on back-to-back occasions, but I still do belong in this title hunt, and here I am to prove it for a world title, right? So, and it's going against a no-doubter Hall of Famer in Lomachenko. So,
Yes.
in my opinion, this is a
pound king.
pound-for-pound king, right? And definitely in our era. So, in my humble opinion, this fight is a crossroads in a weird direction, right? You have crossroads like, is Vasily Lomachenko over the hill? Is he just not there anymore? He's never going to be that fighter. And then you have George Kambosos, where you say, is he really an elite fighter? Or did he just happen to get a really good fight against Teo, lost back-to-back against Devin, lost again against Maxie, and now he's losing against Loma, who we are, even though he had a good fight against Devin Haney, we are saying that, is he over the hill? So it's a weird crossroad fight, but it's a crossroads fight for both fighters, and you love those type of fights because somebody has something to fight for, and you always get the most out of those.
Like you said, there's gonna be a lot of questions answered, and that's you love fights like that. At the end of the day, we George Gamboa, unfortunately, and he can sit here and deny it, but he is still having to prove himself that Teofimo Lopez fight was not a fluke. He has to prove it, realistically, because a lot of people, and I'm not going to say myself, but myself included, kind of feel like that fight was a little washy. Like, I feel like if they fought again, Teo will win. I feel like it was just a bad game plan, a lot of bad situations, and also Teo almost died. It was literally in the reports. So, these are just factual facts that happen. But at the end of the day, he still won. He looked good doing it, and we can't rob him from that. But at the same time, you got to do something else now. You had two fights against Devin, got outclassed in your home country, brother. You had the rules, and you lost twice in a row. So it's not a good look. Now, with now with Lomachenko, who we've been asking questions as far as him being over the hill for years now. It's not like we just started asking that. We asked this about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. After he lost to Lopez, it was one of those, is he done? Is he done? Then we saw him fight Coleman. He was like, oh no, he's actually got some dog in him still. Then it's okay, now we've seen him versus Devin Haney. Now it's, yes, he's still good. He's not what he was. He's a little on the washer side, but he could still beat elite fighters. And the Devin Haney fight showed it. It was a razor-thin fight. It was really close. But now we have two guys, need something to prove. What is going to happen? Okay? We already know Lomachenko's small for this division. This is not his real weight class. He's a bit of an anyway. He was just so dominant in his weight that he just kept going up. Now he's in a weight class where he's genuinely the smaller guy in pretty much all of his fights. But Kambosos is not a big guy. I mean, even if, he struggled to cut weight because, war strategy, He's not that big of a guy for that division. And this is very, very important for the division just because we really don't have an undisputed champion. Like, not even undisputed. We obviously don't have an undisputed champion, but we don't have a guy in that division right now who was a belt holder that we can say unanimously is the best in that division. It is still a debate. It's pretty much, it's in reality, it's a 2-man race, but yet and still, these guys are part of it that can make it a 3-man race, 4-man race. Because we know it's Tank, Shakur. That's who we all perceive. But at the end of the day, only 2 of those guys have world championships in that weight class. And that is the guys that are fighting right now. It's not Tank. Tank is still a regular champion. We still need, or unless they awarded him. I think they awarded him a championship, right? With the Frank Martin?
Yeah, I mean, Gervonta is currently the WBA champion at 135, and Shakur is the WBC. So Loma and KAMBOSOS will be fighting for the vacant titles coming up. But yeah, to your point, there's only 2, real kings here. So we'll see what happens when this for KAMBOSOS and Lomachenko, because winner could unify the titles with Gervonta Shakur next.
That's what I'm saying. And my thing is, like, I haven't, and this is on me that I didn't like look it up or something like that. I don't know what program all these guys are on, but I'm pretty sure Shakur is in the same. Is Shakur top rank just like Loma?
Yeah. Shakur.
So at the end of the day, man, like, this fight matters just because, like, Shakur needs a big fight. Like, really, he hasn't had a big fight in this division yet. So, in his last, we already know what happened in his last fight. So hopefully whoever does win this fight, I'm hoping they win it decisively so we can be interested in them fighting a Tank or Shakur, because I don't think what's next for Tank, if he does get through Frank Martin, or even if Frank Martin wins, I don't think the next fight is going to be Shakur. I think that's not happening next. So if that's not happening, we still need a big fight that we care about, that still tells us stuff and still gives us answers. We have, with Tank, and as great as he is and as elite as a fighter as we know he is, that we know he is, we have not seen him fight an A-level fighter yet.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely fought some good fighters. It's just that without us realizing it, Tank is, like a Canelo right now. Some of these fighters are really good fights, but some of these fighters aren't really the ones that you would expect or really want from him. But he feels as if he's the box office, right? So he gets to choose, where he can fight and what makes him the most money. But from what I'm hearing, really from him, is what he's saying on YouTube, is that, or not just on YouTube, I'm saying interviews that we're seeing all across the media, is that he has a 6 or 7 fight deal coming up.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
and he said, and he also, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, with that being said, I mean, 6 or 7 fights is a lot of fights. And my question to that is, no way you say that confidently, that you have a 6 or 7 fight deal coming up, knowing that all 6, 7 fights are going to just be like money grab fights. So anticipating, from what I'm also hearing from Tank, is this 6 or 7 fight streak should be Devin Haney, Shakur, Teofimo. I think he's about to go through the ringer right now to just show everybody who he is, if he can get through Frank Martin.
Yeah, and I'll be down for that, and I'm with that. And then you're right, like, to mention that, but I think he also said with that 6-7 fight deal that he doesn't plan on fighting Shakur soon. It was like one of those, it's going to happen, but I'm just not doing it next. Like, I have other options. And, that's kind of lame, but it is what it is. But let's get back to the fight that we were talking about, which is George Gamboa and Lomachenko. So it's on ESPN Plus. It's also in Australia. How in the heck is KAMBOSOS out here finessing the system like this? How is he constantly getting fights overseas?
I think he's just playing the upper hand that any A-side fighter should be playing.
You think he's the A-side though? That's what I'm saying. How is he the A-side?
He's the fighter that is holding a strap right now, coming off a victory. So, unfortunately for Lomachenko, even though he is the bigger name, KAMBOSOS does have a name, And on top of that, again, we have Lomachenko, whether you thought he won or not, coming off a loss. So I think to answer your question, how I think he is finessing the system is more so just him using his upper hand. For example, Devin Haney, you want to fight for my belts? Okay, cool. No problem. We're going to do it in Australia. And because I'm the undisputed champion of the world, I'm allowed to make the choices or, the stipulations. And my stipulation is rematch clause, right? And it has to be in Australia. So if you want these belts, you're willing to take it. That's definitely where Devin, in my opinion, has the most heart, because I think a lot of other boxers would not do that. And
Yeah.
this is where I say that Devin, I feel his pain when he says things like, hey, you fighters are saying this about me, not giving you an opportunity, but here's what I did with George Kambosos. I took a trip to Australia twice, even after I won the title. And both times I beat him convincingly. So for me, I just think George Kambosos is just using his upper hand. And why not? If you're the champion and you can use it to your advantage, we just saw it and we just spoke about it with Inoue. So why not? It's a huge time difference. Australia and the rest of the world, their time zones are a lot different, similar to Japan. So it's always, always, always the upper hand when you can get them in your home turf, and it's a huge difference in time zone.
No, that's facts. That's facts. And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't. I mean, it's also not possible to really do it in Ukraine. At least I don't think anybody would want to do a fight card in Ukraine. So I mean, I guess that's another point. I guess you can make. It's like where it's not going to be in Ukraine. Do you want to have it in America? I'm pretty sure Lomachenko don't care to come back to America, especially after him believing he got robbed twice in America. That's another note to make as well. So I'm pretty sure he's like, I'm okay with not having it there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's a good point. Now, how do you see this fight playing out?
I see this fight going the distance. I don't think that either fighter really has knockout power, to be honest with you. I have Lomachenko by split. I think it's a
Split.
yeah, I think it's a high exciting fight. I do think that we're gonna get a Tio George Kambosos type of war, a really back and forth type of fight. I will predict that Lomachenko drops Kambosos once,
Okay, that's fair.
but I don't think it deters George Kambosos in any way. I think he comes out firing throughout, but I think Lomachenko edges him for one last big fight, and it might be against Gervonta Davis.
So I think that George Camposis is going to come out a little strong. I think he's going to try to be the bigger man and try to bully him in a way. We already know Lomachenko's a very slow starter. He's not going to do anything for probably the first 2, 3 rounds. Now, maybe I will say that's what we expect because that's what he normally does. But who's to say that he doesn't finally change his ways and maybe just take one round off or half a round off and pick it up a little sooner since he's losing these close decision fights? Because I know he's been having issues with judges and decisions and this, that, and the third. And there's only one way to fix it. Be more active in the beginning round. Stop giving rounds up. So I think maybe he'll just give up a round or two. And then after that, he will put it on. And I think that honestly he's going to get Gambosos out the way. I don't think he's going to knock him out because once, like you mentioned, he doesn't have knockout power, especially at 135. He's just not that kind of puncher. But I do think accumulation in punches will affect Kambosos. And like you said, he's going to get dropped. I think whenever he does get dropped with a flurry, that Lomachenko's going to swarm on him, and he's going to be able to get the stoppage from the ref. And I don't think when Kambosos is hurt, and I've seen him hurt maybe twice now since I've actually been active in this game, which is since the Teo fight. He's there to be had, and I think that he sometimes gets a little not ego, but he has an ego where it's like, nah, I got to get this back, and I think that's what's going to hurt him. And I don't think he's going to be super strategic with it, and Lomachenko's going to get the finish. So I'm going to say by 9th round he's going to get a TKO victory and versus Kambosos, and I'm hoping. I'd rather see Lomachenko versus Gervonta than I will Shakur. I think Shakur and Gervonta, while it could be cool, I don't think it's going to be exciting. But a Lomachenko fight versus Gervonta Davis fight is one of the biggest fights of the year.
I think so too. Yeah.
It is an amazing, like, come on, man. Like, you got a guy who calls himself the Matrix, who is very crafty, going against one of the smartest in-ring IQ fighters in boxing in Gervonta. Gervonta is so smart, so technical, knows when and when not to punch. And we already stated this before about his accuracy and power shots. One of the most accurate guys in the division. And we all know he can, and he can definitely knock out Lomachenko. We've seen Lomachenko. We've seen Lomachenko hurt. We've never seen him like legitimately stumbling hurt. He's got a flash knockdown, but he's never been hit by a person like Gervonta. And we've never seen Gervonta fight somebody as crafty as Lomachenko. That fight is bonkers. Like, I would honestly try to find out. I would hope they would have that fight in DC, since obviously Gervonta would be the A side. If they could have that fight in DC, I'm 100% go. We should be going. Like, we need to go.
Yeah, big facts. Or hey, Baltimore. They were talking about doing it at MTMT Bank, so I'd love to see a homecoming fight for Gervonta there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of this fight. I do think we should start keeping track of our score here, of like your
predictions.
Yeah, your predictions.
We can do it. It's all fair.
Fair enough.
We can do it.
We'll have to go back a couple episodes to catch up here, but
Chris,
yeah,
Chris, you're watching it. Chris, put a total up for who's right and who's wrong. We can do that. That's fine. We could put a wager on it that's not money related, because I don't gamble.
And you have a beautiful child all the way, so you need money for Pampers, milk. All that stuff.
Hey, look, I'm gonna win, so I'm not worried about money. Hey, look.
Listen, man. I don't want to hear no. We don't have Pampers this month because we lost the bet to Josh. I don't want to hear that. But no, we should definitely keep track. See at the end. There's not really a boxing season, but end of the year type stuff, recaps. But yeah, I think your prediction is a fair one, right? I mean, Lomachenko is known to finish you if he can, right? He's definitely going to try to showboat if he can throughout the fight. But if he feels like he can get you out of there, I don't think Lomachenko, we can both agree, really wastes any time. He has had moments where fighters don't even leave the corner, so that could be a potential too. So yeah, your prediction is good. I feel like when I see George Kambosos, granted, Devin Haney has been exposed as a weaker puncher in his last couple fights. It is what it is. But we did see him go against Tio, and we did see him go against a tough fighter in Maxie Hughes, and he's been able to go to the distance. He's been in some wars, hold his own. So I think it's going to be tough to get him out of there, but I don't see Lomachenko not taking that chance if given the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Nah, he's a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So, look, thank you, everybody, for watching, as always, man. And look, once again, we hope, Gervonta, we hope you watch this. Hey, if you ain't going to fight Shakur, fight Lomachenko. I've been wanting this fight for the past 2 to 3 years. I think it's such an intricate fight that genuinely, like whether people want to believe it or not, Lomachenko can't possibly win that fight. Like, it's possible. I don't think it's probable, but it's definitely possible because Lomachenko is the dog. But at the same time, we got to see, and we're going to find out this week, if he's washed, how washed. Or maybe he's not at all. We don't know. So I'm down. Can't wait to see it. But once again, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment below. And, social media's below, so you want to follow us and talk a little trash. I'm down for that too. Look, we always down. So thank you guys for watching. As always, man, make sure y'all stay blessed. And I hope we have a good fight this weekend.